Hey guys, welcome back to the Unprofessional Kitchen where I show you how to make great food in the average kitchen. Today we're making probably one of my favorite sauces, the classic Bolognese. This is a sauce that's great for making on the weekend and then you can use it throughout the week as you need it, and it really only requires ingredients that you can find at any grocery store. All that's really required of you is a little bit of patience and a little bit of time. So with that out of the way, let's not waste any more time and get straight to cooking. Alright, so let's get started with the base of our sauce, which is called the mirepoix. This is going to consist of equal parts carrot, celery, and onion. For this recipe, I'm going to use approximately a cup of each, but you can tailor it to put more or less depending on how much sauce you plan on making. Next, we're going to add about 1.5 pounds of semi-lean ground beef, and for convenience I'm using the pre-ground, but if you want more control over quality and fat ratio, you can ground your own beef. We're also going to use about a tablespoon of good extra virgin olive oil, as well as about 1.5 tablespoons of cold unsalted butter. Following up with that, we're going to use 128-ounce can of whole peeled San Marzano tomatoes. Next up, we'll need 1 cup of whole milk. We're also going to add a cup of dry red wine. Traditionally, recipes call for white wine, but I prefer the flavor that a red wine adds to the sauce, but feel free to use either as long as it's something that you don't mind drinking on its own. I'd also like to add about half a jar or 330 milliliters of strained tomato, not to be confused with canned tomato sauce. We're also going to add a pinch of grated nutmeg. Don't go crazy with this because a little bit of it goes a really long way. And then to finish off the ingredients, we're going to add an optional 2 to 3 dried bay leaves and salt and cracked black pepper to taste. So to kick off the prep, we're going to start by dicing our vegetables for the mirepoix. Starting with the onion, as I've explained before, cut and peel it, and then make tight cuts along the grain, and then 2 or 3 cuts cross-sectionally before dicing. Hopefully you do a better job than I did in demonstrating it. For the celery, I'm going to cut in half to make it more manageable, then cut down the middle, and then just start dicing it like so. Finally, for the carrots, make sure they're peeled. Cut them first into equal sized layers, then cut those layers into batons so you can dice them into small cubes. Remember, when you're prepping your mirepoix, you want to cut all your vegetables at approximately the same size because that will allow them to cook at approximately the same rate. So whatever vegetable you choose to cut first, recognize that that's going to basically set the tone for the size that you're going to have to cut everything else. And that's it. Just like that, we've prepped our base for the Bolognese sauce. So to begin the cooking, you want to start by first completely ignoring your own recipe by putting more olive oil than you instructed into the pot. With that, we're also going to add the 1.5 tablespoons of cold unsalted butter. Put that on a medium heat and leave it until you see the butter melt and start to foam. Once you've gotten to that point, you can go ahead and add in your mirepoix. You want to cook it down and stir it frequently until the vegetables start to become soft and the onions become translucent. This should take approximately 5 to 7 minutes. Once we've reached that point, now we can add our 1.5 pounds of ground beef. I completely forgot to catch this step on camera, but you're also going to want to add a good pinch of kosher salt at this stage. It won't only help to season the meat, but it'll also draw out the moisture and help cook it off. You're going to want to cook this until the meat becomes completely browned. Once the meat is cooked through, you can add your cup of milk. Stir to incorporate it in and then reduce the heat a bit to help bring the milk to a light simmer. This is going to be your first test of patience because you'll want to keep it at this stage until the milk is completely reduced. Once that's done, you're going to add the cup of red wine and turn the heat back up to medium. Let the wine cook for about 10 minutes just to cook off the harsh alcohol notes. This won't remove all the alcohol content, but that's going to occur during the simmering stage of the cooking process. At this point, you've done most of the work. Now you can add and mix in your crushed San Marzano tomatoes. I'm also going to add at this stage our strained tomatoes to help give the sauce more body and flavor. Once you've mixed that all together, just leave it alone on the heat and wait for it to come up to a boil. Now we're going to add our pinch of nutmeg, and our dried bay leaves. At this point, you just reduce the heat to low to bring the sauce to a very light simmer, leave it partially covered, and then go find something to do for 3.5 to 5 hours.
So I just want to take a second to address something, because I think this is a good point that I think a lot of people will probably experience at some point, so I don't want them to freak out if it happens to them and think that they ruined the recipe. I left my house for about an hour. I didn't notice that the heat was a touch bit higher than it was supposed to be, and I wasn't there to like stir it and monitor it from time to time. So when I came back, the sauce was more of like a pretty soft boil and had reduced significantly more than I would have wanted in that time frame. If this kind of thing happens to you, don't freak out. Just add a little bit of water and then continue with the simmering process.
Once the time is up, you'll come back with the sauce being pretty much done, and the only thing left to do is to add salt and pepper. Make sure you taste as you season, and season a little bit at a time. This helps to ensure that you don't oversalt your food and you can adjust it to your liking.
Alright guys, and there you have it. There's a recipe of how to make bolognese sauce from scratch at home. This is really one of those recipes that shows if you substitute time and patience for the readily available and convenient option, you're gonna yield a sauce, like I always say, that is gonna be much better than anything else you're gonna get in a jarred sauce. If you like this video, think about giving me a thumbs up, and if you want to keep seeing more content like this where I show you how to make great food and show you great recipes that you can make in an average kitchen, think about subscribing to the YouTube channel. And as always, if there's anything that you want to see me make or any recipes you want to see me try in the average kitchen, leave it in the comment section below and I would love to do it. Until then, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.